Hello, super friends, and welcome back to another episode of Superhero Saturday, where we talk about the arts of superheroes, storytelling, and so much more. My name is Annie, and today we are going to talk about the mentor trope, which if you don't recognize already, you're bound to recognize it before I finish summarizing it right now, because this is a popular one. For every Superman, there is a Jor-el. For Harry Potter, there is Dumbledore. For Frodo, there is Gandalf. For Luke Skywalker, there's Obi-Wan. For the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there is Master Splinter. The hero's first step in their story is often to be thrust into a world that they know very little about, and that lack of knowledge necessitates the presence of a teacher, a mentor, a professor, a master, some kind of figure that knows more about the field than they do and can impart that information to our main character. We in the writing business call this the mentor trope. The mentor figure appears virtually in every story and is almost as prevalent as the main character hero themselves. No matter what happens, whatever weirdness is going on in the plot, the hero is going to be disadvantaged by their lack of knowledge of the world at hand, how it works, and the things that they need to know to beat the bad guy. And that's where the mentor figure comes in, because this mentor figure knows a whole lot about the world at hand and can teach the hero, their pupil, their student, how to navigate this world and in the end beat the big bad guy. If you're familiar with The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell, this is basically step 2-ish. Without the mentor figure, the hero would be pretty much lost in this new universe of knowledge and wouldn't know heads or tails, much less how to save the day. And while it's always great for us to have someone to follow, the mentor trope actually serves as a really good plot device to characterize a world for the audience. The mentor figure can fill in the hero about all the finer details of the mechanics of the world. And in doing so, they also are explaining these details to the audience so that we understand as we're going along and the story progresses. Sneaky. Regardless of how the mentor-mentee relationship is forged, the mentor is usually the one who does the training montage with our hero and works on them and helps them out until they become the kind of character that can actually save the world. That is pretty much the baseline of the mentor trope, but there are so many sub-tropes out there that you just have a ton to choose from. For example, the mentor figure can be the wizened old wizard that pops into the story just when the hero needs them and stays only long enough to train them up and then pops off back to his own dimension. Or it can be something entirely different. The mentor could be someone that the hero already knows, a family member or a dear friend, or they could be a complete stranger. The mentor could be someone who's been invested in the main plot of this story for a lot longer than the hero has been. And so they may even have their own agenda when teaching the hero all of these things about the universe. In fact, the mentor character doesn't even have to be a good guy. Sometimes the mentor figure is someone who their only reason for training the hero is to keep them from progressing so that they can do their own thing and take over the world themselves. Tricky. Lots of characters become mentor figures because they're old or they've reached kind of the end of their road or they weren't able to save the world themselves, and so they're working on saving the world the only way they can by enabling someone else to do that job. Because of this, and because of the close relationship that is often made between the hero and the mentor is a really easy target for someone to fridge them, because it holds a lot more emotional weight for both the hero and the audience. This is basically a slightly better version of fridging your character or axing them purely for the sake of giving the hero some kind of emotional motivation for doing the thing. So oftentimes people who use this trope, it just tastes kind of stale to me because, like, really, you just invited this person in to tug on our heartstrings and then make the waterworks happen? Like, come on. Now, there are a few distinctions that make the mentor trope and not some other type of thing. For example, the mentor is sometimes seen as the leader of the group, but only in that they have a lot of knowledge about what's at hand and usually some wisdom, and they can help the main characters make good decisions. But that doesn't mean that they're the leader. Usually, like Master Splinter, the mentor character is a character that is outside of the main group, but just helps inform the team's decisions and helps them to make good steps toward their goal of saving the world. Even though they make decisions based on the mentor's advice, the hero and the main protagonist group themselves are pretty autonomous. The mentor figure is also not necessarily a parent figure or even a boss. For example, J. Jonah Jameson, while a really cool character, is not Spider-Man's mentor figure. And technically neither is his Uncle Ben, although he does really inform Peter Parker's moral compass and helps guide him from the grave to make good decisions. Because really, Uncle Ben doesn't know anything about fighting crime, so it's not like he would be able to tell Spider-Man, you know, it's always good to wash the suit at least once a week. At least once a week? Probably more than once a week, right? I don't want it to smell. And the mentor figure isn't just the hero's, actual teacher. That's why Professor McGonagall isn't Harry Potter's mentor, although the story probably would have ended a lot earlier if she had been. If you're making a mentor figure for your character or your story and you want a little help, here are a few things that you can consider. How do the hero and the mentor first meet? Do they understand who one another are right away, or does it take a little while for destiny to take hold? What exactly is it that the mentor figure knows that the hero doesn't? Are they filling in the blanks, teaching them about life, or helping them level up in the arena that they're in? Is the mentor figure interested in teaching someone new, or are they not? Are they even good at teaching? These are things that you can build into your character, because it might be a lot more funny if your mentor character doesn't really want to be the teacher and isn't very good at it anyway. They just know a lot of stuff. How did the mentor figure get here, and where do they want to go? Think of them as a character, after all. They have their own backstory, and they have their own goals and missions. Why is this character a mentor figure and not a protagonist or a hero? Because if they're pretty powerful and knowledgeable, it makes sense that they should be able to do something about the big bad trying to take over the world, so why aren't they? For example, maybe they're the hero in their own story, or maybe they tried to defeat the big bad already and they failed. Whose side is the mentor on anyway? The hero may or may not know their true alignment, but are they chaotic good? Are they lawful evil? You can decide these things. What is the relationship dynamic between the mentor and the hero? Is it basic teacher-student? Is it familial, like a mother and daughter? Or is it something else entirely? And what about the relationships with the other characters in your hero's circle? Does everybody trust the mentor, or do some of them feel a little suspicious about them? And lastly, how does this mentorship program end? Does the hero complete their training and move on? Do they become unlikely friends and stay in touch for the rest of their lives? Is there a conflict that forms between the mentor and the hero, and how does that get resolved? Or does it? Does the hero quit? Or maybe does the mentor figure die and maybe they become some kind of ghost mentor figure? I don't recommend that one, but you can always do your own twist on it. So for our final example, I just want to tell you that one of the most interesting versions of the mentor trope is actually, I think, found in the movie Megamind. This movie is a straight up ridiculous gem of a story. To put it extraordinarily simply, it's a story about how a supervillain tries to take over his city and ends up becoming a superhero. But during the course of the movie, the main character, Megamind, decides to create a superhero to fight, ostensibly so that he's not so bored anymore now that he defeated the previous superhero. In doing so, he becomes a classic superhero mentor, a mysterious magical old dude with powers of his own and a lot of insider knowledge of the industry, who teaches the noob with the new powers how to become a superhero.
So you're like my space dad?
Yeah, I'm like your space dad.
And you are what?
I'm your space stepmom. I've had some work done recently.
That's where the simplicity ends, however, because the rest of the story is basically a whole bunch of inversions of typical superhero type tropes. Megamind ends up being unveiled as an anti-mentor since he's technically a supervillain at that point, and the quote-unquote superhero that he created then becomes the new supervillain. And in order to put things right and, honestly, live to tell the tale, Megamind has to become the superhero himself and defeat his own creation.
Oh, you're a villain, all right. Just not a super one.
Yeah? What's the difference?
Presentation!
What a trip! Do you guys have any other really good examples of the mentor trope that you've seen in your own stories or in other people's works? Which of them are your favorites? And which are not your favorites? Or do you have any other ideas of popular plot devices that I could examine and explain and share here on the channel? Because this video came from one of you guys commenting on a video. Go ahead and put those in the comments of this video and we can continue the conversation there. And if you come up with really good video ideas, I will add them to the list. Thanks so much for watching, Super Friends. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more superheroic content every single Saturday. You can join the team by following us on social media or supporting us directly by going over to our Patreon page. And if you want to see my own superheroic figures in action, including a little bit of a mentor trope, go on over to our website at www.fearless9.com where you can pick up a book of maybe just possibly your new favorite superhero characters. Thanks again for watching, Super Friends, and we'll see you next week.